Hello, everyone, and welcome to Salesframe Webinar. It's a little bit past 10 a.m. CET, and we're ready to get started. I'm located now at Salesframe office in Helsinki, but the advantage with webinars is that you can attend from anywhere. So also today, we have viewers from many locations and countries, and welcome on board you all. I'm not here today to talk about myself or our company, but as there are some who are not yet familiar with Salesframe, I'll do a super quick introduction here in the beginning. So who we are at Salesframe, we are a sales enablement company providing a platform which gives salespeople the tools to be more efficient in their work, have better quality in customer meetings, and close more deals. And also for organizations, we provide the capabilities to improve the quality of selling and the utilization of all sales contents in their teams. I'm Henri. I'm responsible for our new sales and also a partner in the company. And the main purpose with the next 30 minutes is that if you already are a Salesframe user, to give you insights how you could utilize better your own Salesframe, and for non-Salesframe users, share ideas how your team could also gain from modern sales enablement tools. But let's go forward. And as a background for this webinar, we ourselves have also had a long journey in developing our sales processes and improving those during the last 5 years. And on the way, we have made many mistakes, but also identified multiple good practices, which have been very good ones, and we have replicated in our team. So today I will be sharing these, and we believe this can be very beneficial for you too, regardless of the industry where you're working with. And just a moment, I share the screen here. Obviously, there are multiple different touch points that you can have with the customers, and we're not diving into those all. But almost all organizations, especially in B2B, have sales meetings, which are incredibly important for building customer relationships and generating business. And today I will focus on those. So there will be 3 parts in the webinar today. First, before the meetings, I will start sharing with certain practices we utilize in our team before our upcoming customer meetings. And who had signed up to this webinar early, I already sent a pre-example a couple days ago. Next, during the meetings. So second, we'll take a look on how to benefit from Salesframe during customer meetings. I continue giving some examples how our team is equipped for maintaining good flow with presenting and dialogue when being in the customer meetings. And last, after the meetings. So in the end, we cover how does our product support sellers in following up the customers after the meetings and track their interests. And after we've reviewed all these 3, I have a short summary also in the end. But our product actually for sellers is divided into 3 modules: home module, showroom module, and follow-up. So this webinar will be also a good review on those, on how these modules also serve the sellers in the daily sales work. And during this time, I introduced also a couple new features which we have released recently. And let's go forward and start from before the meeting. And a little bit switch the screen here. Everyone actually with sales experience knows that it's quite tough to convince the customers when you're meeting them for the first time. Of course, during the discussions, you have to understand their needs correctly, provide the right solution, and show that you can deliver value for their business. But throughout the process, you need to build a good relationship and convince them to trust and select specifically you. Especially, it's hard if you only have 45-minute or 60-minute time slot booked with the customer, and that's it. So in that short time, you have to be so impressive, trustworthy, and prove you're capable to deliver value. And if you succeed on that moment, then they can consider further buying services from you. And during the last couple of years, we have actually started to add more actions towards the sales, during the sales process towards the customers. So more touch points and interactions when we explaining them our value and actually extend our relationship beyond the actual meeting moments. So our policy now is that every time we meet a potential customer for the first time, we always send a personal video greeting together with our pre-meeting material. And I also did a showcase of this 2 days before. So we had about 100 signups to this webinar beforehand. And to these people, I sent you a pre-webinar message with my video greeting. And this is exactly what we do in our sales process too. And how does it work in Salesframe? Let's take a look. So because I wanted to start this webinar by presenting you visually good looking content, I was actually in the Showroom module. But when preparing for upcoming meetings, it's actually Home module where you can browse and search content very quickly as a user. And let's go there now. So from Showroom, I can switch to Home from the top left menu button and then select the part that I want to navigate myself to. So what we have we here? On the left, there's available feed. So on the page that I'm currently at, here I can see the notifications that I get as a user, and also if the admin users have shared some messages, those are also available here. Next, there's the start folder. So if you have marked as a user some own favorite content with a star icon, those are then available there. Then you have also My Files folder. So it's the place for personal files which you as a user have added or created completely yourself in Salesframe. But when it comes to all shared good contents in the team, those are always available and accessible in the library. In our case, now when I'm going to these parts, we have created completely own pre-sales folder, which we want all our team members to use in early stages of sales process, like in prospecting and cold contacting, and when we send materials before the first meetings. And as a user, it's under sendable materials, and I navigate there now. Once I open the pre-sales folder, I have all the materials and contents here that we want everyone in the team to use. And let's do an example. If before a meeting, I would want to then collect and create a presentation to be sent for the customer, it's super simple. I simply just add the contents that I want to include. Once I'm ready, I add it to the presentation. Actually need to remove that one there. So you can see it's collected. And when I'm at that point that I want to then share the link, share the presentation with the customer, we call it as a Memo Site. So it's basically a shareable link to the presentation. And as a user, when you have clicked the share icon in the tool, you have the option to create a Memo Site. Once doing it, I have here the possibility to set the name for the material that I'm creating. And here is actually one of the new features to be introduced in this webinar to video greetings. To add a personal touch into the contents that I'm sharing with my customers, I can record my own personal videos. And let's do an example here. Once I click it open, I have the option to turn my camera on. Then let's wait a moment, it should be there available. If not, then we might have a demo effect currently with the webinar broadcasting tool. Here we have it open. It took a while. But anyway, once it's open, here I can record the video. Hi there, it's Henri. This is an example video creating together with our pre-sales material. I hope you like it. Once recorded, it's there. There's an option to take new text if needed. And when you complete the memo site, click the create button, and then you have a shareable link that you can share with your customers. Here. You can copy the link, share it in any channel as you want, or click here email, basically, which is opening your own email tool and new message from there, and you can immediately send it to the customer. But once the customers are receiving links and opening those, then basically the content will be visible for them as a web page. And here, for example, the video creating that I just created is also included, and the customers can view all the other contents as well. Let's go back to home. And since I sent you all, or sent to the people who had signed up beforehand, material before this webinar a couple of days ago, let's take a look now on how you have engaged with the content. So in the follow-up section for the seller, for the user, you have the visibility on the presentations that you have created. So the material that I just created is there, the memo site is there, but also the memo site that I did earlier this week is there available. It was sent to roughly about 100 people, and I can see now that it's been opened 22 times. The most viewed and most popular content here has been the video creating, and I can see that lots of time has been spent there. But as a seller, I can also see and track like how the customer's been engaging with the other content that has been in the presentation as well. If I would want to, I could view also the separate sessions so that I can see like how the individual viewers or visitors, what they've been doing on the memo sites. But overall, the possibility to track what customers are doing is really useful, regardless if I'm sending the content before a meeting, during meeting, or after meetings, because all the time I can get signals of how the customers are engaging with the content that I have sent and how much interest there is regarding the topic that we're going to discuss together. And here also in this example material that I sent beforehand, I can see that video creating was the most viewed one. And in generally, that's the same when it comes to all the contents that we're sharing in Salesframe with our customers. It's by far video creatings are the ones that our customers are spending most time. So any user who has Salesframe, I really encourage you to utilize that. And the feedback also from the customer side is really good. That, for example, when we're entering the meetings, then there is a good moment to have that small talk, and they might also like start mentioning about that they thank you for the video and they had viewed it before too. Okay, let's move on. So on the agenda, next we have what's happening during the meetings and how our product supports and guides the sellers during the customer meetings. And when you, for example, have need to present something in your face-to-face meeting, or alternatively, like when you're meeting your customers through online meetings or any other channels. So again, as a user, I'm here navigating myself. I wasn't last in the follow-up section, but I go now to the Showroom module. And as a seller, one of the best features in Salesframe is the possibility to react on the fly when having discussions and meetings with your customers. We have already passed the times when a seller, him or herself, decided in advance what is the presentation deck and content for the meeting, and no exceptions. Most sellers know that selling is not about pushing your service or product to the customer. Instead, it's about the both-sided dialogue about the needs, understanding how you can add value and develop operations, and in the end, coming up with a mutual plan or solution that serves you both. And in all those different meetings and discussions, you just simply don't know what questions might come up or what will be the tone and direction on those talks. And if we think about sales organizations and salespeople, yes, probably there are some very experienced and skilled people who maybe have worked in the company for even decades. And they have the great expertise to handle different situations and succeed whatever is coming up. But what about if you are the junior salesperson or someone whose comfort zone is just selling certain part of the offering? So if customers are interested in something new that you were not expected, then probably you don't know what to do. Maybe you need to involve your colleagues after the meetings and get back to the customer later, or struggle in the middle of the meeting to find some relevant content and material to show. But most likely, you missed that sales opportunity because you were not equipped with the right contents and resources on that moment. What we are really excited in our showroom module is that at any customer situation or when getting unexpected questions, you can always access the right information and good quality content of your whole offering on the fly and present it immediately when needed. And you don't necessarily need to even prepare anything for the meeting. So this helps the seller to respond and succeed in any situation, discuss interactively about like the customer's needs and interests, and do up and cross-selling on the way. So let's have an example. Let's say I'm, for example, talking with new people who don't know yet about what we do and what's the value of Salesframe. Then I might want to show our value proposition and start explaining what's really the benefit, what we provide, how we improve sellers' efficiency and release more time for the productive work with the customer. And in these situations, I can simply just go to the right topics in Showroom and lodge that specific presentation that contains information about this. And here we can go through the statistics about that, how much time actually the sellers on average in B2B are selling on the sales and client work, and how much time is actually wasted to all kind of other, not that productive and non-related, non-sales related tasks. Also, let's say some operative people are involved who want to know about the product features. And again, well, all relevant contents are at my hands, and I can simply navigate to the right section where we have more information about our product and the features that we provide. And again, I click and launch a presentation, and together with the customer, we can go through what's there for the sellers, what are the benefits and features. We can go forward to review what value and benefits there are then for the admins and managers in the team, or then show an overview, like how, for example, Salesframe is divided in the different modules for sellers. But like everyone knows, typically the questions and talks are going back and forth with the customers, and they might want to ask about anything. So let's say, again, they're interested about our references. And again, I can go as a user to our customer sections where we have presented our references and customers as a logo gallery. A small point here, this is also an example of the fine-tuning that can be done in Salesframe and in the showroom modules. If there are needs to customize the customer experience in certain parts, the admin users can create this type of pages in Showroom where the information or objects are presented visually in a different and maybe a bit more impressive way. So here we are using the customer logos, and you can see that if I click and select any of our references here, the background picture is also updated. So it gives a nice look and feel to the meeting that when I'm navigating here in the different sections, it looks different. It's a little bit more impressive and appealing for the customer in those situations. And of course, as a seller, it's really smooth and gives me the confidence also to present, because I know this looks really nice. But in this example, let's say we're meeting, for example, potential insurance company customer. I want to talk about the references that we have. And LähiTapiola is one of the clients, the biggest insurance company here in Finland. Again, I can go, if needed, then present the contents on the fly, review this with the customer whenever needed, and this helps me to maintain good flow in the discussion. And then let's say, even if there is something more advanced coming up, for example, customers wants to know how we can be integrated to Microsoft systems or to some other tools and environments. Again, I can go in Salesframe to the right sections and show and explain about this on the fly in my meetings, and this is enabling me to review and show the contents that are right at the moment, instead of that I would be in the middle of those situations that I would need to start like browsing and looking through my computer folders and files and checking where the content might be. Instead, in Salesframe, as a seller, it's always up to date. You have all the contents from your offering in your hands, and it's just really smooth to use this in the situations that you're having on the field and when working with the customers. Okay, and again, well, if some IT person is related who wants to know about our GDPR compliance or some other more advanced things, content is here and enables me to succeed in those situations well and with good quality, and it's convincing when having my talks. So I really encourage, of course, any Salesframe user, you can prepare your presentations beforehand too, but I really encourage that you can also just go to your meetings, talk with your customers, and react on the fly based on what is coming up. And maybe some of you noticed that while I was navigating here in the different sections in Showroom, I was actually also collecting some of the presented contents on the way. And once selected, I added these to the presentation that I'm creating as a user. And now in the bottom, in the presentation bar, I can see what contents I have collected now. And now we're actually moving to the last part in the webinar, so following up after the meetings. So, of course, you can collect and create the presentations after the meetings, but you can do it simultaneously while having the meetings and talking with the customers. And even if you want to send the presentation like as a wrap up in the end of the meeting, again, I can click the share icon, create a memo site. Let's add a name, presentation to customer A. Here we go. And here, actually, we have some of the new features I wanted to talk today about too. If you, as a user and seller, want to specifically define that the presentation link should not spread around to any unexpected or new people, and only selected people have access to it, then you can access or add here a password. So you set a password and you share it with your customer also, and only the people who have that password then will have the access to that presentation. Another feature that was lately added was the expiry date here. So as a seller, if you're, for example, giving an offer for your customer and there is certain deadline, you can specify that it will expire on that day and there will be no access to the presentation afterwards. So that's an option for you too. And we actually have made it also in a smart way. So even if the expiry date has passed, but the customer tries to open it later, then as a seller, as a user, you get the notification about it and you can react based on it. But now I create this presentation. It's created. I could again share it with my customers. And from Showroom module, I'm navigating myself again to follow up from the top left menu button. And here I have the presentations that I have sent. I'm currently actually using this as a test user for this webinar purposes, so there is not that much data available. But like I was showing before earlier, when there is hundreds of memo sites that you've been sending to the customers, you can always see how they've been engaging with the content that helps you to identify the good sales opportunities you should focus on and enables you to plan how you can use your time efficiently. We're soon about running out of time. Just really quick introduction to one new feature here that is available for the users. If there are situations that you're, for example, with your colleague preparing a sales offer and you both need to do the editing, there is an option currently in My Files that if you have created here own folders, you can actually share this with your colleagues. And in this case, for example, I give now to Petteri also the access and he can do the editing like I can do, and together we can do the needed preparation. So this is something that might be useful for the current Salesframe users immediately. But since we're running out of time, let's do a wrap up of this webinar. And if there's something that you should remember, well, of course, utilize Salesframe in the ways that are best serving you and your team. But especially we encourage you to extend and use different touch points with your customers besides the actual meeting situations. So don't rely only on the moment when you meet and discuss with your customer. Instead, try to build the relation and sell your value in so many other contact points that helps then you to build the good relation and improve your chances to win more deals. Also, react and present on the fly when meeting the customers. So it's not just pitching your own deck. Try to support the dialogue, the both-sided discussion with your customers so that you're together coming up with a plan. And also if some cross or upsells opportunities are coming up, those are also supported, then you can always show and utilize the relevant and right contents on that moment. And last, this is probably something that I can't highlight enough. Instead of sending email attachments to your customers without any visibility that what's happening then afterwards, you can always track how the customers are viewing the content and when. So identify the warm opportunities and follow up at the right time. But 30 minutes are now gone. If these topics were interesting or you'd like to know more about how to utilize Salesframe better, please reach out to me or any of my colleagues here at Salesframe. We're really happy to talk more and let you know more about the possibilities. And on my behalf, I really appreciate everyone attending today. So thank you for watching and see you again later. Bye-bye.